Shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving all honor, all praise, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone that rule well. As always, peace, blessings, and salutations to the tabernacle of David, the for elect, scattered abroad across the four winds of the earth. Now, there seemed to be a media block on what's been going on in NYC. You know, there's been a lot of anti-small hat, anti-tiny hat protest. And they can easily, use this to, throw the anti-SIM card out there, the propaganda, and, they already enforcing anti-SIM laws so that people would, leave these little rodents alone. But let's just say it's a reason why nobody wants them around. It's a reason why over the course of time in history, these people have been barred from 100+ countries. That don't happen to a people that's so lovey and kind and, peaceful, wouldn't hurt a fly. Is very virtuous, devoted, devout, you name it. All right. So apparently, what they discovered, I want to say maybe over a year ago, almost 2 years ago, during these protests, they discovered another rat hole. I'm going to just put it like that. All right. And there's footage of it. And this goes to show you, man, these devils, they're not fooling anyone. They damn sure not fooling the Most High. If we're able to see this wickedness, and figure these devils out, then how much more the Heavenly Father who sits in the heavens, whose eyes is 10,000 times brighter than the sun. All right. So let me play this little video clip, and this is going to be a short one. This is Jake basically, showing, all right, what transpired the other day. Another rat hole.
Shit smacking in New York right now. A lot of anti-Jewish protesters got involved. They went to an underground synagogue. Found some shit we wasn't supposed to find. Shit smacking.
Yeah, and of course they're not gonna. None of this is gonna be reported on the mainstream media. Because we all know who actually controls mainstream media, so they damn sure not gonna give coverage to this. But this is what happened the other day. Let me get this one. And you're going to tell me these are not descendants of Cain? Just anywhere that they at, man, it's always something. One of the things, it says 6 things do the Lord hate. One of them being feet that be swift to run to mischief. Everywhere you are at, there's, mischief, there's injury, there's deceit, there's harm, there's wickedness, abominable practices being done. But these are supposed to be the children of the light. They're supposed to be the likeness and image of our Father. Get the hell out of here, man. All right. And this sentiment, with people, going after them and trying to bar them from out of their territory, from out of their land, out of their regions. It's happening all over. Down in Mexico, down in South America. They want them out of there. That's how you know this is Cain, all right? Because what did the Lord say about Cain and his punishment? Let's go to Genesis 4. Genesis 4. Now, this is after he murdered his brother Abel. Genesis 4:12, it says, when thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. Somebody that's wanted. That's on the run. That's why you're getting barred out of all these different places in the world, and then have the nerve to play victim. Professional victim villains, man. And that's what Cain was. It says, and Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. It says, behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me. And it's not a coincidence, man. It's very spiritual that they're wanted all over the place. So they had to come up with these anti-sim laws to keep basically the world from off their ass, man, while they continue to do their wickedness. All right, just antagonizing the earth. See, they discovered something down there in them tunnels, man. And what we saw over a year ago when was it NYPD? They casted a raid, through that synagogue, and they discovered that tunnel that went underground through the walls, and they discovered mattresses with blood on it, and high chairs and beer bottles and stuff. It was sick, but they reported on that once, and then it just all went away, just like they do with all the other reports of these heinous acts. Like you had a guy here in Nevada, he got caught running a child trafficking ring, and once he got caught, they just let his ass run back to the land, because they usually have dual citizenship. So he got off. But it's like you gonna indict him when this whole Epstein thing is going down and being exposed. So that's these devils for you, yeah. So let me go from there, because if we're discovering and seeing things here on the earth, what do you think the Lord knows and what he sees? And this is why he says that he will have indignation with them forever. Talking about E. He referred to them as the borders of wickedness. All right. So everything that he does, the Most High already know. Let me get Isaiah 29 and was it 15? And I'm gonna read this one in the AMP. And it says, woe, judgment is coming to those who try to deeply hide their plans from the Lord, whose deeds are done in a dark place. Like an underground secret tunnel. They got underground cities, underground dungeons where they do a lot of rituals and a lot of wickedness, sacrificing. All right, it says, and who sees us or who knows us? Because if you got to do your wickedness deep down underground, in secret places where people can't see you, then what you're doing is diabolical. We already know this. So the Lord he's just allowing them to tally up their sins before he, swoops down on them. And the rest of this world, because the whole world lies in evil and wickedness. Let's go to Job 24 and verse 16 and 17. And it says, in the dark they dig into the penetrable walls of houses. They shut themselves up by day. So, they down there doing who knows what, in a day. They do not know the light of day, because their darkness is the light. Their light is basically darkness, doing wickedness. But the scriptures say the knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom. But this is what they know. It says, for the morning is the same to him as the thick darkness of midnight. For he is familiar with the terrors of thick darkness. All right. Let's go to Job 34 and 21. And it says, for the Most High's eyes are on the ways of a man, and he sees all his steps. There is no darkness nor deep shadow where the evildoers may hide themselves. So they might present this as, oh, this is just another, attack on, those people. And this is why they need protection. This is why they need, these laws, to protect them. BB and all them and the people that represent them making threats to people who spread certain information or criticism about them. We're going to dox you. We're going to find out where you were. We're going to counsel you. We're going to do this and do that. While they get to be free to do their evil. So that's why we got to leave it in the Most High's hands. He's eventually going to, do what he's going to do. All right. Let me get Psalm 7 and 9. And it says, oh, let the wickedness of the wicked come to an end, but establish the righteous, those in right standing with you, for the righteous power tries the hearts and minds. And then they're the ones that's going to, stand up for the Most High against evildoers. So yeah, they're going to be vocal, even if it, cost them their speech, if it cost them, penalties, being deplatformed or even being persecuted, which eventually is going to come down to that. But all this wickedness got to be, exposed. And like Yahweh Shai said, there's nothing secret. Matter of fact, let me just grab it. They got caught again, showing you that, hey, it's their nature, man. They're not going to stop. Just because they got caught over a year ago and got raided, it didn't mean that they wasn't going to stop being them. This is what they do. Luke 8 and 17 says, for nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad. All right. So eventually, things come out and Esau gets exposed. How are the hidden things of Esau sought up? Obadiah 1 and 6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All right. So yeah, man, this is why the world is coming down upon him. All over the world. It was that Job 20 and 27. The heaven shall reveal his iniquity and the earth shall rise up against him. So this is what you're seeing. So yeah, I'm gonna end it on that. Like I said, it's gonna be short, but I just had to report this, man. Once again, they at it, getting caught. So it's only a matter of time, and this is why the Lord said he will have war with Amalek forever. All right. So anyway, I'm going to give all honor, all praise, and glory to Yahweh Shem Shai. And to the next one, Shalom.